Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, the situation in Australia has not really gotten much better. As we see here, Australian troops prepare for bushfire emergency and evacuations by sea. This is huge. These fires keep going on. Authorities have less than 24 hours to move thousands of people stranded on the North South Wales south coast, who face a humanitarian crisis amid looming horror fire conditions. Not only that, but there's food shortages going on now as well. This is really turning into a huge humanitarian crisis. This is just horrifying, as residents are coming to grips with the bushfires that have destroyed properties, claimed lives as well. It is not stopping, and it's devoured. The fires have devoured thousands of homes and have killed innumerable animals as well. As you see here out of BBC News, Australia fires race to flee the leave zone as fresh threat looms. And, a lot of people are not going to be able to get out by car. And the only way is going to be basically evacuating from the beaches, because the fires there are so intense. You have air quality that is horrendous, over 26 times the maximum, what is thought as being the maximum barely acceptable level of air pollution from the fires going on. So it's intense, and the situation is getting worse. You have at least 17 people that remain missing after the fires tore through Victoria and New South Wales this week. And so the latest evacuations in the New South Wales south coast have been called the largest relocation out of the region ever. This is huge. Huge lines for petrol, gas, i.e., and just no food now coming in as well. And, this says it all. We're safe, but we're trapped by fires on three sides. The ocean will be our escape, if necessary. People in other coastal towns have been evacuated by sea. If the roads open up and the authorities say it's safe, we will leave immediately. But we know that won't be today. So we're holed up in a hotel room with a blanket at the base of the door to keep the smoke out. This is what people are facing down there. It's, as it says here, it's very apocalyptic looking. And Australia is definitely facing a very, very dark day here. So let's send our friends and family in Australia our prayers and best intentions. As you see here, the sky turns blood red as disastrous bushfires devastate New South Wales. Incredible colors, but those are the actual colors. And the air is so unhealthy. And you see people right here, they don't have masks on. This is horrible, a horrible situation that we see unfolding. Australia is being ravaged by hundreds of bushfires. So what we have going on here is most definitely unprecedented, and that looks as apocalyptic as about anything we can imagine. A very, very serious condition there. More damage, more destruction expected as visitors to Southeast urged to evacuate. Get out of there now. At least 7 people have been killed on the coast of New South Wales this week. And the infernos are still blazing, as we could see from this satellite photo. And as we see the sparks and the chaos that's ongoing. This is just a huge disaster we're watching unfold. And this is kind of mind-bending as well. Tumbleweed avalanche hits highway, buries cars, and traps drivers for up to 10 hours in Washington. Weeds forced 12 miles of SR 240 to be shut down in Benton County on Tuesday. One car was so entrenched in the dense forest that the driver had to abandon it. And, if you watch this video, it's going to kind of blow your mind. Buried in tumbleweeds. When do you ever see that? These are very interesting times we are living in. Absolutely no doubt, as they're using a snowplow here to push the tumbleweeds off the highway and open the road back up. Amazing times that we are in. At least 50 people dead as severe cold sweeps Bangladesh, and this is an area where they're not used to the type of cold that they're seeing. When I went to Sarasota, Florida and moved there, I was hit by the number of homeless, but then it made sense when I thought about it, because usually the temperature doesn't drop below the 50s. Maybe once in the winter you might see a temperature in the 40s, but survivable. And so what we have in Bangladesh here is temperatures coming in that are not survivable. And even though the population is used to milder weather in these changing times with the grand solar minimum upon us, it's causing a disastrous condition here. And so it's very, very sad. We have at least 50 people dead in Bangladesh as extreme cold weather sweeps the country. Cold-related diseases have affected about 6,000 people in the last 24 hours alone. And hospitals are struggling to cope with the surge of people from sicknesses such as influenza, dehydration, pneumonia as well. Children and the elderly are obviously always prone to such diseases as well. And here we see massive floods hitting Jakarta. This is Indonesia. After exceptionally heavy rainfall, several million left without power. Million. At least 14 killed. And, the outlook for 2020 is going to be more of the same, perhaps with some intensification as well. So the areas that are getting flooded now, they should expect to be flooded in the future as well. And as we said, there's going to be mass migrations of people. Mass migrations like we haven't seen in our modern era, of people that are homeless and just looking for a place where they could settle. And the other situation is going to be the food situation, which is only going to intensify. At least 8 missing following severe flash floods and mudslides in Tolima, Colombia. So again, we're seeing this in all corners of the globe. And it doesn't matter if you're in South America, North America, Africa, Europe, Asia. It really doesn't matter. We're all being affected by this. And taking a look at some of the quake activity, we see for one, Ridgecrest, China Lake, still a lot of quakes. We got 54 quakes there. And whether they're quakes or something else going on, that's debatable. But still, a lot of activity down there. And as we're looking here, one of the ones that will stick out would be right over here in Iran, 5.2. Generally speaking, because of the infrastructure and the buildings, if you have something that's mid 5 to 6, it could be like having a 6.5 to 7 in some other areas as well. And jumping over to Electroverse, we have a once-in-a-lifetime polar stratospheric clouds still going strong around the Arctic Circle. I've heard from a lot of you guys that there's been absolutely crazy sunsets. I heard from a few of our family in Texas that the sunsets tonight were just spectacular, but also really mind-blowing and unusual. And we're seeing that type of activity all across the globe because we are in a very different time than usual. And here we see survival of the richest. Luxurious doomsday-proof bunkers are becoming more alluring to the ultra-wealthy as they fight to get their hands on the $4.5 million post-apocalyptic homes fitted with swimming pools, shooting ranges, and dog parks. So, we had seen this before, and we saw a ton of people moving to Australia and, well, not necessarily moving, but a ton of the ultra-rich buying properties in Australia and New Zealand. And they are buying their bunkers in droves. And as many people are watching the signs of what's happening, whether we're talking about the earth changes, the political situation, which seems to be getting tenser by the moment, or whether we're talking about any of the other things that we are facing in this society, including most definitely food shortages coming. The ultra-rich, well, they are able to prepare. They're able to buy their bunkers. It's not the case for 99% of the population. But the ultra-rich, they're ready. And they're armed, and they have their bunkers all set. And they're making their luxurious abodes underground into the earth with brand new pool tables. So we see Pope Francis smacks a woman's hand to free himself from her grip. You know, it was interesting watching this, and I watched this several times because some people thought they saw reptilian shapeshifting going on here with the Pope. Now, I don't doubt that the Pope is a reptilian, honestly. I mean, come on. Catholic Church is the richest organization there is. And the power lines that go through it, not good. And here we see, I mean, obviously we've had so much with the controversies. We all know all about that. But starting at about 8 seconds in, you notice this lady grabs his hand. And then there's another hand there that kind of appears, and it looks really red and raw. And a lot of people were thinking that it just popped out of nowhere. I think it belongs to this lady, but you guys take a look between 8 and 9 seconds. And it's kind of unusual. But either way, the Pope, all smiles till his lady grabs his hand pretty firmly, and then he just kind of slaps her. It's not very nice. So over here, how I stay warm in my RV when it's freezing outside. And we are definitely people that watch a lot of RV videos, and it's because we're going to be living that lifestyle. I only lived it for 3 months. It was fun. It was definitely fun. It was challenging. It's not easy. And I can't imagine doing it in a cold climate, and I don't want to do it in a cold climate. That's what the plans are. We're going to follow the weather, but there are ways you could stay warm when your RV, when you're in your RV and it's freaking freezing outside as well. And I'll have the links for this for you as well. There's a video right here for some tips. And jumping over here, in a 24/7 food culture, periodic fasting gains followers. This girl is in shape, and she is a CrossFit athletic trainer at CrossFit Algiers in New Orleans. Do you know what? She only eats every other day. She's got some pretty good muscles right there. And so a lot of people are catching on to intermittent fasting. There's so many different ways of doing it. Probably the most familiar and comfortable way is to eat basically on a 16-8 schedule. So 16 hours you don't eat, 8 hours you eat. It's really not hard. All you really got to do is just basically omit breakfast and you're good, or omit dinner. It's cake, actually. And Cindy and I have done it for at least 6 months now, pretty much, right?
Yeah, about 6 months, easy.
It's just so easy. I mean, there's no effort involved at all.
A little bit when you're a female. I don't know if we're all alike, but sometimes around my moon time, I do get cravings. So I allow myself to snack. Moon time is my period. But anyway, I allow myself to snack like every other day, about a week prior to.
And, and then we usually tweak it as well. So depending on how serious we are and what we're trying to accomplish. But there's a lot of ways of doing it. And so what this girl is doing, and her name is Melissa, and she's a personal trainer, by the way. So she's very, very well acquainted with building muscle, losing fat. And what she's doing is she's eating every other day. Now, that's much more challenging to me. And doing that long term, I think I'd rather do a 72-hour fast once a month. But, it could be something that we try, especially when we get to the warmer climate, because it is definitely easier to do it in a warmer climate. And that's one of the things that's really interesting as well is, your diet, it will change. Your needs will change depending on the climate that you're in as well as the energy load and the activity load. And a lot of times we will work out on an empty stomach that's been empty for 16 hours, maybe even 20 hours. And it's amazing how good a workout we could have with plenty of energy, even when we haven't eaten for anywhere between 16 and 20 hours. And what it does is it allows your body to get in a state called autophagy, which eliminates the bad cells, the cells that are damaged and not doing their job, such as cancerous cells. So this is a way of allowing your body to constantly clean itself out and rejuvenate itself. And more people are catching on to this. So my friends, as always, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for your support over on Patreon and Ko-Fi. As always, my friends, God bless and namaste.